I mean, firstly, being a woman in this industry is also most of my jobs, except for maybe barring one kitchen, I was always the only woman in the kitchen.
Right.
You learn the hard way how to draw your lines and create your boundaries.
Yeah.
And then it comes naturally to you. We have to work harder to prove what we are. You didn't run out of anything, and it was almost fearful to run out of something.
Right.
It's like, okay, you don't have your shit together.
Hola, soy Anjalina Chugani y bienvenidos a mi podcast Un té con Anjalina, donde hablamos con gente maravillosa en el mundo de la gastronomía y más allá, sobre sus vidas y también sobre la gratitud, que para mí es un punto bastante importante. Hoy estoy encantada de presentar a una talentosa cocinera que está trayendo los vibrantes sabores de Goa al corazón de Barcelona. La jefa de cocina y copropietaria de Mog. Junto con su hermano Raúl, ha creado un restaurante que es mucho más que una experiencia gastronómica. Es un homenaje a su herencia, a su amor por los sabores atrevidos y al espíritu de la comida comunitaria. Originaria de Goa, esta chef combina las diversas especias y las ricas tradiciones culinarias de su tierra natal con influencias de toda Asia. En Mog, que significa amor en konkani, elabora platos acogedores y emocionantes. Su pescado al curry y sus mejillones aderezados con cúrcuma son mis favoritos. Pero no se trata solo de la comida. Mog es un espacio desenfadado y acogedor que refleja la pasión de esta chef por crear una comunidad en torno a la mesa. Condé Nast Traveler destacó recientemente a Mog como uno de los mejores restaurantes de Barcelona, destacando su ambiente relajado, su cocina excepcional y su acertada carta de vinos. Y tengo que decir que tienen toda la razón. Soy cliente habitual de Mog y estoy seguro que están cansados de verme por ahí. Rachel Pereira, bienvenido a Un té con Anjalina. Thank you so much for being here, Rachel.
Thank you for having me and for picking me to do this with you as one of your, I think, first few guests. And no, we're not tired of having you on, for sure. Absolutely not.
Well, I'm glad because
it's a pleasure to cook for a fellow industry person and a woman as well, like you, who's done a lot to change the scene.
We'll talk about that.
And
we'll talk about that in a minute.
To change the scene.
We'll talk about that. We're all change. I think a lot of us are born change makers. At least we have the intention to do that. But before you became a born change maker, I'd like to know what Rachel was like when she was 12, 13 years old. Where was she in the world? I'd like to ask. And what was Rachel doing at the time, and what were her dreams, if she remembers?
I actually, I didn't remember so much. I don't remember so much of where I was and my dreams. I just knew. I know that I always was a bit of a dreamer and creative-ish in many ways. I didn't have a lot of friends, and I was not someone who went out and played a lot. I was quite happy to be in the house. I asked my mom what was I like at 12, just to refresh my memory. And she said, you only cared about food. So that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I was, like I said, creative in the sense I loved to draw and paint, and I could just happily be in the house and do that without having any need to socialize.
Yeah.
And kind of lived in that bubble of mine.
So more of an introvert.
A bit. Like I could be social, and I was pleasant, and I was a happy child in general. I had an amazing childhood. It was all good.
And you were where?
In Mumbai.
In
Bombay. I was born and brought up in Bombay.
Okay.
But we're Goan.
Yes.
So the summers would be in Goa.
Lovely.
With my grandmom in my grandmom's house.
Okay.
And but life in general, school, college, everything was Bombay.
Okay.
And that was, I had always had a a bit of a wild imagination. If you told Rachel at 12, she would probably have a restaurant in Barcelona in her 30s, she would have said yes.
Okay.
I could believe that.
Yeah.
So that was definitely just always. There was no limit to my imagination and what I could achieve or what I wanted to do. But I never had. I didn't have at that time. I didn't have any idea about what I was going to do. In that sense, you know how a lot of kids grow up and they're like, when I grow up, I want to be this and I want to be that. I don't think I had any of that. I was just enjoying being a kid.
You were more like living in the present moment as opposed to sort of just...
exactly like that.
Okay.
Like if you ask me...
So that part of you hasn't changed?
I don't think so at all. Like, no.
Yeah.
Because I also feel like it's very restrictive.
Yeah.
To be that way and then to work towards this one particular thing as opposed to sort of letting things unfold. Sounds a bit romantic.
Yeah, no, I understand what you
even
mean.
To some degree.
Sort of, there's like this goal that's like, when I grow up, I want to be a doctor, for example, which is one of the standard professions that people seem to want to do. I'm not sure why, but
I don't know why either.
It sort of like marks your journey, and it's sort of in the back of your head that you keep saying that to yourself, even though as a child and every second of our lives we're developing so quickly that you still have that as a sort of marker and thinking, no, but I can't steer away from that because I want to be a doctor. No, I'm interested in music, but I can't do music because I want to be a doctor. So I feel like it's so much better to be the way you were and the way you still are, because that doesn't sort of force you into doing something and it keeps you being more flexible, right?
It definitely does, and that's what I did because I didn't go to culinary school as well. Like I went to fashion school. I studied design. That's what I did, and this was a career.
I feel like you and I are literally the same person.
Exactly, everything you just said is exactly why I cannot be one of those people who say this is what where I want to be in how many years.
Yeah.
That's fine, but to say that I want to only be this, because I feel like I can be a lot of things.
Yes,
you know?
of course. And we're not just one
thing. We're not just one thing. And our work can't be the only thing that also defines us.
Absolutely. So, and we're going to get to that in a second. But before I ask you the second question, I would like to serve you something. And I didn't ask you beforehand.
Okay.
I've made a masala chai, which is, as you probably know, it's tea with a bunch of spices. I've done it, we do it differently every day. It's sort of, the recipe will change every morning. That's, I will add a spice here, a spice there that doesn't necessarily, reflect on the one that I did yesterday, for example. So this one has a lot of cloves and black pepper and cardamom, because I feel like in this weather we need a lot more of the warmth. It has a bit of cinnamon as well, but I put less cinnamon than most people would, because we don't generally put cinnamon in our masala chai in India. And I put ginger powder in it as well, just to kind of give it a little extra warmth, okay?
But you don't put ginger powder normally?
No, I put fresh ginger usually. So today I put ginger powder because the profile of ginger powder and the profile of fresh ginger are very different, as you probably know. Ginger gives a lot more freshness, but also that heat. But ginger powder gives it a lot more warmth, and it's heat, but it's a lot more warming in this system in your body, okay? And to go with that, I prepared some chocolate chip cookies.
Wow.
I hope you're hungry.
I'm always hungry.
And I hope you like chocolate chip cookies. So may I offer you one?
Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you so much.
These are homemade, and the difference in these are that I use browned butter. So I brown the butter for quite some time. And I use a lot of flaky sea salt in them.
I can see that.
Yeah.
That's good.
I might have overdone it with
but
that.
That's good. I love salt.
I'm glad.
I love
so
salt,
cheers.
everything.
And thank you so much for being here.
And thank you for having me.
I hope the chai is okay for you. I'm not sure if you're a chai drinker. I didn't ask you.
I'm not, but I do like a nicely made, which this is. And sorry, you probably got a shot of me smelling it before I drank it, because that's just what I do for everything.
I get it.
Whether it's food or drink or anything.
So coming to food or drink, what what are your food memories of that time? Like your childhood memories. What were you eating? Did your mom cook? Did your mom cook, or was someone else cooking in the house? And did you eat together as a family?
Cooked. Yes.
Okay.
My mom cooked, but we also had always had someone cooking. She worked full time,
Yeah.
and she cooked as much as she could. But there was always, like, one of the things that I think I still take with me is that there was always really, really fresh food on the table. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner were separate.
Yeah.
It was made, like, lunch was made after breakfast. Dinner was made after lunch. It was always really fresh. We cooked very little, like just enough for that one meal.
Yeah.
And always ate on the table. There was no television, eating, sofa, none of that stuff.
Yeah.
So whoever was at home at the time, we all ate together. And whoever was out or school or work, it was different.
So who was at home? Like when you talk about home, who is home for you? Who is in your house?
My mom, my dad, and Raul.
Okay.
So it was just the four of us always.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much how what we ate growing up was everything. In the sense, it was not just, so we are Goan, but it was not just Goan food.
Yeah.
It was not just Indian food in general. There was a little bit of everything. We had like lots of soups and salads and something fresh and something raw and something, hot, and curries and the regular stuff as well.
Yeah.
But my mom also did like to experiment a little bit. So she was one of those people who would go out and like something, and then she would come back home and try to copy it.
Do you remember a dish that she might have made that kind of stayed with you? Or something that you ate that really is part of your core memory that she cooked for you?
I don't really, because the thing with her is that she never made the same things all the time.
Yeah.
And then the one time she made something that we liked, she would just keep making it all the time, but it would never come out the same way, because she, like me, when I'm cooking in a home situation or for friends or family, I don't follow a recipe.
No.
So, and I don't think any of us at home follow recipes.
No.
I mean, maybe if you're not so into cooking, you would maybe want to follow a recipe, but when you kind of know what you're doing, and you're just, it's like how you said about the tea. It's like you woke up and you made tea, and you made it how you felt like making it, and you probably won't make it the same way tomorrow.
Yeah.
So if your kid said this was amazing and you try to do it again tomorrow, it's probably not.
Absolutely. And I think people who are innate cooks, or people who really love flavor and are passionate about, cooking and putting something together, following a recipe is very difficult, because it is a creative process for us.
Exactly.
Whereas someone who's cooking because they need to, or because they're learning, or because, it's basically a need basis, they need to follow instruction, and therefore a recipe is very helpful to them.
Yes.
So it doesn't always fit with everybody. So I totally understand, like your mum's way of doing things.
So her way of doing things was it was exactly that. It was what was there, and then putting it together and just making it. So there wasn't like any particular dish that I remember, because there was always just so much variety in general that we ate. And like I said, we ate everything and anything. And as you probably know, as Goans, we have no restriction with anything.
No.
So we start
Everything.
with everything from a very, very small age. So I'm saying like tongue and trotters, every part, like brain,
that's wonderful,
whatever it is. Like it was a mix, a nice mix of it all, which I think is one of those reasons why I love every other kind of food as well, and I'm always curious to try a new something, cuisine, whatever it is.
And is that what inspired you to begin your culinary journey?
I don't know.
Or
I don't know. Like I can't pinpoint a moment in general, because, like I said, just always knowing that and just liking to create stuff. I love to, whether it was, I don't know, a drawing or a cake or whatever it was. So when you are creative, it gets hard to sort of
Pinpoint
that one thing, because you think you can do so many things.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's just me.
No,
but
I think as a creator, as someone who gets inspired,
Exactly.
it just happens. And I understand when you say that it can't just be one moment. It was sort of probably a combination of a few things that helped it to just
come together.
And then, but I'm just curious, and I wonder how you sort of came to the moment where you said, well, you know what, I think I'd like to have a space of my own where I can cook for people because I love doing this anyway. Was there an actual, like, where were you when you decided to do this?
I mean, when I decided that I wanted to cook for a living was much later on.
Yeah.
So I had worked in a few really nice restaurants in Bombay, and then I moved to Goa and I worked for Bombers, which is, we spoke about how you had such a great meal.
Oh my gosh.
That's my food. Like, that's when because I always enjoyed cooking, but every time I cooked in any of the restaurants, even in Bombay, it was not my food. It was not, I enjoyed eating it. I don't know if I would want to continue cooking the same kind of food.
Right.
But when I moved to Bombers, then it was like, this is what I want to do, because this is and the reason I moved there was because I was so curious, because I always loved Southeast Asian flavors, even more than Indian food.
Yeah, I understand.
You've seen that with the dishes at Morgue. It's confusing to explain to people what I do sometimes, because
I don't find it, by the way, I don't find it confusing,
you don't find
just
it
to let everyone know.
Because
it's
it's
very
you,
clear to me why you do that.
But you know what I mean when I say confusing to explain to a general
the origin
sort of
the dishes and how you put them together.
Yes. Also because we're so used to putting people in these boxes and like having sort of just, what food do you cook? What kind of cuisine is it? It always, like, there's no word for what I do in general. It's a blend of, I love saying it's a blend because I hate the word fusion.
Yeah.
But it's a blend of me being, I'd like to describe it as me being true to my root to some extent, like with the Goan food.
Yeah.
And then just being true to what I love, which is Southeast Asian food and those flavors. So it's a mix of those two things, and then we have this amazing produce that we have here.
Yeah.
And using that, and that's pretty much. But going back to the question of
no, that's fine. You said something just now that I wanted to pick up on when you said, we tend to put people in boxes. What kind of boxes do you feel you've been put in?
Who I don't know, because I think I don't really care enough to be.
But that you might know of.
Maybe maybe unapproachable or slightly sort of intimidating even.
Really?
I
would
don't know.
never,
or just
ever.
Or antisocial. I don't know.
Really? Okay.
Because I am
surprising.
a person who does like my space.
Okay.
And I am a person who says no to a lot of invitations of
boundaries.
A lot of things.
Boundaries.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
It's just also with this field, it can be quite hectic sometimes, and like everything, it's loud and there's noise all the time, and then you just want like your peace.
Yeah, 100%.
You struggle to find that sort of quietness in everything. I struggle to find it.
Yeah.
So I had to make, I have to make decisions on an everyday basis to be able to draw that line. And which sometimes can come across as, but I mean, I am direct, but.
Yeah. Do you think that's because, and I hate to ask this question, but do you think that's because you're a woman? In this industry?
Oh God, yes. Yeah. It's, I don't think I know it. I mean, it is what it is.
And what is it?
that we do have to have a lot of boundaries because it's our like way of protecting ourselves. It's how it is, and it comes quite naturally, I think, to us as well too. Because I mean, firstly, being a woman in this industry is also most of my jobs, except for maybe barring one kitchen, I was always the only woman in the kitchen.
Right.
So you learn the hard way how to you know, draw your lines and create your boundaries.
Yeah.
And then it comes naturally to you. And yeah.
Were there any specific challenges that you've had to face working in kitchens that are male dominated?
Yes. I mean,
That you can talk about?
of course. I mean, for me, I think the normal, which is what I don't even think it's limited to our industry. It's just being a woman in any man's field, so to speak, like a man's field. Is that we have to work harder to prove what we are. I mean, I could be working with a man who probably has like less knowledge, is possibly, I know I sound bad when I say this.
No, please.
Less talented or whatever, but I would still have to work harder to be where I am and like have that spot, because I'm probably not as strong, you know, to lift a pot from this place to that place that weighs with however many, you know, 10 liters or 100 liters or whatever it is. But it's that so it would just be having to prove, always feeling this need to do better, to prove yourself, which is, like I said, I think it's normal in any field for women to have to do. But I think we're also better for that because you learn.
Yeah.
And then you reach a point, which I reached a long time ago. And I've not been cooking for very long. So you reach a point where you're just like, okay, I don't need to prove anything to anybody. I know what I bring to the table, and that's it. And you get comfortable with it. So.
And Mog is proof of that, I feel.
It is.
And I think the fact that, you know, you decided to create this space in Barcelona, in a location that is extremely central in terms of the city and where you are. I wouldn't say it's brave, because I don't think one needs to be brave to do such a thing. I would say though that it's challenging, and even though when we're recording this and we're showing this episode in 2025, I feel like a lot has not changed in terms of, you know, the knowledge that people have behind food, about food and cuisines from different parts of the world. How do you think that Mog has changed the face of food within the Barcelona space?
Well, for one, I think people have realized, at least with having a meal at Mog, that there is more to Indian food than the basic that everybody is always doing, because it's not it's not an Indian restaurant.
Right.
One.
Yeah.
But I am Indian and I cook. I cook Goan food, and Goa is part of India. So for sure, it brings, I think it sort of puts Goa, a little spotlight on Goa, which I like.
Yeah.
Because it's a place that a lot of Indians look at as a holiday destination where you go, where you chill, and Goa is beautiful, and it's the beach, and it's party, but the food has never been a thing outside of Goa.
Right.
I mean, it's for us. Wherever we go, we take it with us. Our Goa sausages, and all of that stuff.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm so hungry.
But people don't know enough about it. I don't think people know enough about Goan food. And so that's definitely something that I think that it does. It puts Goa on the map for a lot of people who just know India as being India, which is such a big country. So we have, the kind of food we have. Like
Yeah.
you just go 1 hour up or 1 hour down, and everything has changed.
Changes, yeah.
And specifically South Indian food as well, or
Yeah.
like our coastal food is just not out there
No.
enough. But that's not even what I'm trying to do. I'm just cooking what I love.
Yeah.
But this is the sort of repercussion of it, is what you get is
Right.
that people get a little bit of, like, they understand that, okay, this place exists and it has this kind of food,
Yeah.
and it's quite nice.
Yeah.
And it's not the regular stuff that you would find in a traditional, so to speak, Indian restaurant.
Yes, but I think that your intention was never to come across as a traditional Indian restaurant anyway, because of the dishes that you have on your menu. Tell us a little bit about how you decided on the menu that you have to propose to people, because it's quite a short menu.
It's very short.
Comparatively. If we're going to compare it to Indian restaurants, which we're not, but if we're going to, or South Asian restaurants in general, it's quite a brief menu.
It's 10 dishes.
It's 10 dishes.
It's 10 dishes.
Tell us how you got to that conclusion. You know, how did you come to that conclusion that, okay, you know what, this is what I want to cook, and that's it? Like, did anyone try to sway you and say, yeah, but how can you just have 10 dishes? That's not going to be enough for people. We need more variety. Did anyone sort of try to...
Till now, I mean, it's a year and a half, and people in general do always say, oh, you should have more options for this, or you should have another option in this.
Yeah.
And I take it, like I listen, but I was very headstrong. I am very headstrong about a lot of things.
Yeah.
The way
She is.
you know that. I think my brother knows that.
Yeah.
He's learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
But he always knew it, and he encourages it. But the 10 dishes was not just to have a number, like I just want to do 10 dishes. It was to keep it really simple. And like I said, going back to growing up with really fresh food and having 3 different meals made separately.
Yeah.
And I said I took it with me. That's definitely one of those things. And it makes sense to me because I don't need to do that much prep. I don't need to have so much stuff ready just to have options. Why can't I just have 10 dishes and just all 10 be great dishes?
And then that way it's not wasteful either.
It's not wasteful at all. I mean, the kitchen right now for me is almost close to like a zero waste, because
That's fantastic.
things run out, and from those 10 dishes on a busy Friday night, I could cancel off 2 or 3 sometimes, and then you're left with 6, and I only have 6 dishes to sell to a house full.
Yeah.
And then I run out of everything, and sometimes it can be a bit embarrassing, but
Okay.
I don't.
How do you deal with that?
The only way that when I do feel like that, I just sort of check in with myself and say, listen, if I walked into a restaurant and they scratched off 5 things, I would be very impressed personally.
Okay.
Because I'm seeing it in a different way.
Yeah.
And
You're
I
looking
do
at it
go-
from chef's point of view,
Yeah,
though.
but I do go to so many places, and in Barcelona, it's not rare to have places that
They'll tell you that, okay, today we don't have
we
this.
don't have this, especially the seafood places.
Right.
And that's what, like, the seafood here is amazing.
Yeah.
And the best places to eat it at are the ones that scratch it off when it's over, and they don't have any backup frozen anything.
It's a draw, isn't it, for people
and
as well?
And that's why I did the 10 dish thing. And it's not a trend. It's not because I was trying to do. I also worked in Lisbon for a little bit.
Right.
And they had that. And that
Okay.
definitely swayed me more towards it.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of reconfirmed that that's
You
what
saw
I
how
want to
it
do.
worked, and
And that's
you-
why I went there, because I wanted to see how it functions. Because in my head, from working in all the other restaurants that I had worked at, there was always so much stuff on all the menus. Like, all of them had so much food that personally it didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And when I was heading these kitchens that had these big menus, there was always extra stuff. There was you didn't run out of anything, and it was almost fearful to run out of something.
Right.
'Cause it's like, okay, you don't have your shit together.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's fine.
And then when I went to Lisbon, it was Taberna where I was working. It was just 10 dishes in both their places, and they were not apologetic at all if they ran out.
Okay.
And it kind of made me feel comfortable with this decision to do it and to be okay with running out, because it works. I mean, that's why. That's how you keep it fresh.
Yes.
And that's how you keep it,
Yeah. And it does work. It really does
It's
work.
disappointing. It's really disappointing sometimes when some people come in,
Yeah,
like
but
you
I
said,
think-
for the mussels, and I don't have them so often.
Yeah, but I think that's a statement for the way you present your, your ethos and how you come across as someone who believes in the fact that waste is not a good thing, and it's not it's not okay. I need to go on to the question about gratitude now, because this is a podcast where I like to focus a little bit on that side of things too, and I think that it's important to whatever we're going through and all the things that we're experiencing, I think it's really important to look at gratitude in a way that's not so sort of woo-woo and airy-fairy, but like it's a daily practice that we can think about and, give thanks and gratitude to how far we've come in the moment that we're in. So I'd like for you to explain to us a couple of things, instances where you felt deeply grateful and the outcome has brought you to where you are now, or it gave you something of a learning lesson. They could be negative or positive, something that people can really appreciate hearing and maybe learning from. So if there's anything in your mind that, you can go back to.
Wow, there are a couple for sure. One of, I think I spoke to you about this when we were having a conversation on the phone, was maybe for sure when I just moved here.
To Barcelona.
To Barcelona. I had moved actually from Goa because I was working in Goa at the time, and I trying to figure out my next step, which was just to leave. I had no plan. And where I was, and then I came here. It was part of the plan to come here. I had never been to Barcelona before, so it wasn't a place that I had come to on holiday or any of that stuff. It was just me being watching enough of culinary shows and travel and living and all of that stuff that got me here, and I came with no plan other than just wanting to come here and cook. That was the only plan I had. And
as in to get experience.
To
cooking.
get experience,
right.
to learn, to cook other food, because I was always interested in like learning as much as I could on the job, as opposed to going to school.
Yeah.
And going back to the question, it was just very. Once I came here, I realized that what I left, because when I left India, I was doing quite okay. I had worked in some nice restaurants, and the path was paved. It was done. I could pick where I wanted to work. I could, call up someone. I had already had good enough relationships with all my employers, whether it was Bamra or wherever I worked, and they would all vouch for me. But when I came here, I had nothing. I knew no one. I couldn't call anyone up. I was literally starting from scratch after feeling like I was already at a good place.
Yeah.
And then it was like going back down. So I actually worked for free. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Which I would never have done back home. Like it was something that I felt like I did my time. I worked for free. I was a trainee. I, peeled the arbi and did all of that stuff. And I was ready to get on. What's the next step?
Right.
Which should be higher and not going back down. But it was that. Because I think you could imagine, like, if I came here with whatever CV and I go to a typical sort of Catalan or Spanish restaurant, they're not going to care. And I don't blame them for where I worked in India. Maybe they would or would not.
Yeah.
But in my experience, it was just a brown girl who probably made a good curry. But
A brown girl who probably made a good curry. Okay.
which is fine, because I guess that
Well,
was,
it's not really, but let's just say
It's not fine, but
let's
then
just say it was okay for you at in the moment because you were just willing to learn. And
I was
wanted
willing to
work.
learn, and
Right.
it's that finally that you take up those jobs that you don't want to, you get the one you want. It's normal. I mean, it's what it is.
Yeah.
And
And is that how it ended up working out for you?
yeah, because my second job as well, after the one for free, was a job I didn't really want, but I was ready to take up anything that came along.
Right.
I was at the Boqueria.
Okay.
So like the most touristy place in Barcelona that I would not want to be at, probably not want to cook at, but luckily I didn't have a choice, and I say luckily because these are all the experiences that bring you to where you are.
Yes.
And I stopped looking at it like that. Like, why am I here? It was always so crowded with like all the people that you don't want to cook for, like who order the big sort of plates of seafood just to take pictures and kava and Instagram and the market, and just it was and it was hard also to work
can
there
imagine.
because it's not
It's an intense environment.
it's not a lunch and a dinner service. It's just
Non-stop,
one
isn't
big long service that goes on for like 7 hours straight. And yeah, so that was very sort of humbling. It made me feel like there will always be a time when you think you're, at your peak, and then you just come back down.
Yeah.
And
It humbles you, I
humbles
guess,
you.
right?
It does. And I'm very grateful for that, for that whole part of the journey.
Yeah.
Because, so moving here was both hard and I think beautiful in the same sort of way, because I learned so much about myself and what I'm capable of doing, I guess. So that's coming here, and is definitely one of those moments that I was saying. And I was saying to you that it also made me feel like now that I've been here 6 years, I see so many people move to Barcelona from all sorts of places.
Yeah.
And they call it home, and it is home for me. I feel like it's more home than...
You feel that now?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I feel more accepted. I feel, not that I was trying, but it's definitely home. Like, when I have time to go on holiday, it's not something I crave desperately. I'm quite happy to be in Barcelona.
You don't feel the need to run away from it.
I never feel the need to run away from it. And when I'm coming home, like when the plane is landing here, I actually feel quite happy, which I never did. Like, post a holiday, you come back to work and you feel good. Like, you get out of the airport and it feels like, okay, I'm ready.
So essentially you're doing what you really love at the moment.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you always love it the minute you started MOG? Was it something that you had to push yourself to love? Or was it, I want to do this is a challenge, and I learned to love the challenge? Or did you not look at it like that?
No, I didn't look at it like that, because I did love it from the beginning. It was stressful.
Yeah.
Like, starting up was very stressful.
Yeah.
It was challenging in many ways. But I always loved it. I think it's my first job that I loved as much as I love, because I'm doing exactly what I wanted to do. I'm cooking
and it's
my
yours.
food. Yeah. More than it's mine, it's literally that I'm being able to create what I want to create.
Yeah.
And I'm not cooking anyone else's food, which for me was the only thing I was waiting to do
Yeah.
after working everywhere that I worked.
Yeah.
And I wake up wanting to go to work as much as I clean down waiting to come home.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's literally the same. It sounds hard to believe, but
Yeah.
it is exactly that. And so I hope it stays like that. I hope I can keep feeling the same way.
Well, I think with the attitude that you have gone into it with, I think you will be able to sustain that, because it seems to be part of your nature from what I can understand. And it seems to be so integrated into you that you wouldn't want to be doing something that didn't make you feel your true self. And I think this really does make you feel your true self. And I don't think you come off in any other way. Like, I can safely say that I know you now, and I think from the minute I did meet you, I already knew that you were this sort of a person, that you were genuine, and that you were not in it for anything else but to do what you exactly love doing every single second of your life. And you know, you haven't come across in any other way. Let's get on to something a bit lighter now.
Yes.
Just to kind of lift the atmosphere and lift the room a little bit. But thank you for sharing that experience. And I really appreciate it, because I think it's important for people to understand that, you know, coming from different places and traveling and finally landing, you can find home anywhere.
Anywhere.
And
Completely.
that's a lesson I'm taking from this, because I can also relate to it quite well. And I feel like, you know, we've done that. It's about embracing where you are and really just doing what it is that you want to do. And you could pretty much do that anywhere, as long as you're staying really true to who you are and what you believe in. I feel that that's the main thing at the end of it.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I've got a few quick fire questions for you, Rachel. Are you ready? Would you like to have a sip of tea or water?
Why not?
You haven't even tried your cookie yet, but we can get to that whenever you want.
Yeah, I'm saving that for later.
Okay.
When the camera is not on.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Your favorite smell or scent?
Smell or scent. Something herby. I don't know. Patchouli, geranium, that kind of.
So flowers.
Yeah,
Florals.
florals, yes, maybe. But not particularly sweet. Geranium can be. But
Yeah.
yeah.
A bit more earthy then.
Earthy, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Your favorite sandwich filling?
Any meat. I don't know.
Give us an example. If you were to make a sandwich right now, what would you want in it?
Like some roast beef, maybe.
Roast beef, okay. With?
Roast beef, tomato, mustard, that kind of stuff. Or something spicy. Wait, can I take it back?
Yeah.
I want a chorizo sandwich.
Chorizo sandwich.
I want a Goa chorizo sandwich.
Okay.
That's what I want to make, if I can make something right now.
Great.
Yeah.
And what kind of bread?
Anything crusty. Like a nice crusty,
Okay.
crunchy.
Yeah.
No.
So spicy
doesn't have
and
to
crunchy
be,
and
any great sourdough, fermented anything. It's just the bread is not important
bread.
for me right now.
It's the filling.
It's with the sausage.
Okay.
I want less bread. I want more meat.
Okay.
That's how I love my sandwiches like that.
I like it. I like it, as they should be, actually. Your favorite savory snack?
My favorite savory snack. It's going to sound very boring, but yeah, salted nuts. Anything that is really salty, spicy, and nuts.
Okay.
Like just a big mix of, and olives.
Okay.
Actually, olives.
Olives.
Yeah, olives.
With, what's the filling?
Anything, any
You
spicy.
like the anchovy ones?
I love the anchovy ones. I learned to love them here.
Love them.
I never knew they existed
Love
before
them.
I came here.
Can't live without them.
In anything.
Yeah.
In vermouth, in
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Or just a big bowl of
Got
them.
it.
Yeah.
Sweet snack.
Sweet snack. Not a big fan of sweets in general.
Okay.
But dark chocolate would be just a slab of it. Just plain.
Yeah.
Or with some salt.
Your favorite drink?
My favorite drink. Wine? Coffee?
Red, white?
I don't have a preference anymore. It's a mood.
Okay, it's a mood.
It's a mood.
Got it.
I used to be that person who only wanted a certain kind. I'm not like that anymore. Just the mood, the temperature, how I feel, what I'm eating.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's it.
Sounds great.
But bubbles, for sure.
Bubbles.
Are generally what I would.
Yeah.
If I just had to choose one, then I'd say something bubbly. Maybe.
Nice. Favorite holiday destination?
Thailand.
Whereabouts?
In general, everywhere.
Everywhere
I mean,
in
there's
Thailand.
not a place. Well, I love Chiang Mai.
Okay.
I need to go back soon, but Thailand.
Okay.
In general.
The food.
Give me a one-way
my
ticket and
gosh.
I'll figure my way out. Take a train,
I
go
like that.
wherever.
I like that.
The food is.
I like that. Okay. And the last song you listened to on your playlist?
The last song I listened to on my playlist.
Or that you can remember listening to?
I just
recently?
spent the whole of yesterday listening to Lauryn Hill on repeat.
Oh
on
my gosh.
Loop, everything.
It's a
like
mood.
the whole, it's a...
She's a mood.
She's a mood, she's a vibe.
I'm not sure if I should be saying
everything.
things like that. My kids would cringe, but
She
no.
is.
She is. Any song in particular that you can... She's great.
She's great. No song in particular. Just everything. Her voice. It's her voice. It's not even so much the lyrics. It's just everything. It's
the
like
power in her voice. Yeah.
So
she's so emotive, isn't she?
Very. And I was having a full Lauryn Hill Sunday yesterday.
I love that. I love that. I might have a Lauryn Hill Sunday this weekend. Sounds good.
It changes things. It's kind of relaxing, but at the
also
same time, I don't
energetic.
Yes,
but in a not jumping off the walls kind of way. Yeah, I get it.
Never want the jump off the walls.
No.
Okay. That's exactly what I'm not ever
We're
looking
not jumping
for.
off the walls with Rachel anytime soon. Okay, and I like to finish always with if you could perhaps share a dish or a recipe with us that you would cook for people who are your soul people, or for yourself when you need something comforting, something soulful. What would be your favorite thing to cook?
My favorite thing to cook is it's more like a meal.
Okay.
It has to have a couple of things.
Okay.
It's not a one dish thing.
It's not a one dish
There has
thing.
to be some sort of rice.
Rice.
So I generally go towards making a fried rice. It's my favorite thing to eat. I love fried rice. And I love eggs and rice and egg and rice together. So just even like a simple egg fried rice.
Egg fried
with
rice.
Nothing else in
Sounds
it.
great.
Some, green onions, whatever.
Yeah.
Some chili, some kind of dipping sauce or chili sauce that's made from scratch.
Yeah,
not from
of
a
course.
bottle.
Of course.
Even if it means you just pound chili and garlic and add some soy or whatever.
That's
it doesn't matter.
very simple
It's
to
so
do.
simple.
You can do that.
And it changes everything. Some vinegar, maybe.
Yeah.
So you get like sweet, salty, some sour.
Yeah.
So yeah, the rice. Okay, I'm getting very excited.
No, this is great. I'm glad it's exciting.
Because it's not a one dish thing. It's a whole mood.
Yeah.
It's like Lauryn Hill.
Yeah. Okay. We're continuing Lauryn Hill mood.
So it has to be some kind of fried rice, something chili, like some hot sauce, some chili dipping sauce, whatever it is, made from scratch, and a soup.
Okay.
Yeah, these three things have as together for me is like the most perfect comforting, and it's what I would cook if you wanted me to cook for you at a.
What day can I come over?
You can come
It's my
over
question.
any Sunday or Monday.
I'm there. It sounds wonderful.
That's what I would do.
It sounds like the perfect comfort, soulful meal that I would love to sit down and have with you one day. So I hope we can do that.
I hope we can do it too.
Yeah.
And you like soup because I love soup, even in 40 degrees. I'm one of those people.
I love soup.
Yeah.
Any
can
time
be
of the day.
It's not, for me, soup is not a winter thing.
No.
It's a regular
I drink soup.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the time. I love it. And also all types of consistencies too. I like broths and I like sort of more creamy ones and thicker ones and chunky ones. And it's sort of like any will do.
Any will do.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Normally I ask for a recipe, but since Rachel has given us a sort of combination of things, I will share a recipe of an egg fried rice that I cook a lot. It's a more Japanese-inspired one that I use quite a bit. And we'll share that with you guys. And Rachel, thank you so much for being here with me and sharing this time. And please, if you are in Barcelona or not, even if you're visiting Barcelona, Mog is the place to visit. It's definitely on my top 3. So, yeah. I suggest you hurry and get a booking because it's not always that easy. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you so much. For having
me. We'll see you next time. Volvemos a veros muy pronto aquí en Un Té con Anjalina. Gracias.